are you? This is yours truly, Diabetic Cycling, coming at you once again. This is a channel sponsored by my own damn wallet and brought to you by your engagement. So it helps every time when you click on subscribe, hit the like button, and feel free to ask any questions, which I'm sure you will have by the end of this episode. Last couple of years, I was showing you a couple of wheel sets that I've actually owned and ridden. One set was the Aerodynamicist 4454, and the other set was the sheer just Aero set 50 in the front and 65 in the rear. Why am I telling you all this? So today there's a new wheel set I would like to introduce you to from the good folks at Hunt Wheels, a brand based out in UK. They have a new wheel set called Sub50. So I don't own them, so this is not a review episode, but I am excited to be joined by Ken, the US brand manager from Hunt Wheels. So I am going to introduce you to Ken, and we'll also spend some time with Patrick, who is the brain behind the engineering and design throughout this video. So today I'm here at Luft Los Angeles, a beautiful boutique bike shop located here in Venice, California. Who are you and why are you here?
My name is Kenneth Rodriguez Clisham. I am US brand manager for a small wheel brand called Hunt Bike Wheels. We are a UK-based outfit, but with an office in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm fortunate to live here in Los Angeles, California, and sit down today with you.
If I had my pick, I would be based in West Coast instead of Colorado, because I'm sure it's just snowed out over there in Colorado right now.
Yeah, I visit the office every few months, but I tend to avoid the winter because being in California, born and bred like yourself, don't know how to survive it.
I know exactly how that is. Okay, so I personally have a ton of experience with Hunt Wheels. I don't know how I came across, but like aforementioned, I've owned and ridden on a couple of sets. Some of my close friends who rode with me, whether through influenced by me or by other online efforts or other people riding, they have a lot of different Hunt Wheels, both on the road and gravel. Can you tell us and the viewers, for those that are not familiar, your lineup of how your line is made up of? Because we're all familiar with the, what the other guys do, Zips and the Envies and whatever. So tell us a little bit about your line.
Totally. So we have, of course, a full alloy range that runs the gamut from disc brake and rim brake, as well as a full range of carbon rim brake and disc brake wheels for road, gravel, mountain bike. For carbon road specifically, there's our Carbon Aero disc range, which is more of our entry level. It's all around, if not below, $1,000. And then we bump up to the Aerodynamicist range, which has more CFD and wind tunnel testing and validation behind it for any of the aerodynamic claims we're making. And then above that is our Limitless range. And that the big differentiator between Aerodynamicist and Limitless is that there's actually a patented piece of tech in the Limitless range called our Limitless with Aero technology. And so essentially alongside the outside of the rim, there's a channel cut out in the rim, and that's filled with a low density polymer, which helps us be wider without increasing the weight.
And then that takes us to why we are here today. Earlier this month in February, I saw a little blurb from Hunt, how they have a new wheel set, and I looked at them and I said, I need to somehow either go sniff and feel and touch, and that's why Ken is here, and I'm showing you the wheels. So, the new wheel set, Sub50. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, no, it's a very exciting wheel set for us, and we hope that everybody else is excited about it as well. A brief background on it. So, in 2019, we launched the 48 Limitless wheel set, which was the first of its kind of disc brake specific aerodynamic wheel set. We fast forward now to 2024, took all of the learnings from that and implemented a couple of more kind of just learnings as we've developed as an engineering company and as a company in general, to produce its predecessor, the Sub50 limitless aero disc, which we've managed to create a overall wheel set which is over a watt faster than the 48 limitless with a bigger tire. So not only like apples to apples comparison is faster, but it's faster with a 30 mil tire mounted than the 48 was with the 28 mil tire mounted. So you're gaining so much more with the Sub50 because you're able to get slightly better traction and less rolling resistance, and with an overall more aerodynamic package, which is super exciting. And
so Ken, what were the rim depth of the Sub50?
yes, so the whole purpose behind the name Sub50 is because they're 49.5 millimeters deep, which I know is kind of a weird depth to choose, but we knew we wanted to be lightweight. We knew that we could create a highly competitive wheel that kind of was aerodynamically up there with 50 mil and deeper wheels. So the biggest feedback we got from our pro riders who we support on the 48 Limitless was that it was a great wheel set, handled above its weight in terms of crosswind stability, and you could really feel it hold and maintain speed. But in a road race, in a stage race like Paris-Roubaix, like the Tour de France Femme, oftentimes you're not always pedaling. Like when you look at the peloton, half of them are coasting and just like micro kind of accelerations, and you can accelerate throughout a road race hundreds of times, just depending on the terrain, depending on how the group is working together. So an overall lighter system was something that was heavily requested from our pro teams and riders. And so we've managed to save over 100 grams between the 48 Limitless and this new Sub50 aero disc, which is super exciting.
What's the inner rim width of the Sub50 set?
The Sub50 is a 23 millimeter internal hookless rims.
Oh, and they're hookless. So is it safe for me to say they're the first hookless rims from Hunt? Because previous ones, I think they were hooked.
Correct. So most of our wheels are hooked. We do have a few on the gravel range that are hookless, and one wheel set on the road range that has been hookless, which was the 32 aerodynamic assist.
So with the 23 mil inner rim width, pretty safe to assume the wheels are designed to handle 28 and possibly slightly wider. Would that be optimized?
Correct, yeah. So we follow, when we design and develop rims, kind of the European governing body, so to speak, of rim and tire manufacturing, which is the ETRTO.
ETRTO something, yeah.
Exactly. And in 2023, they came out with new rulings stating that the smallest tire you could put on a 23 millimeter internal rim was a 28 millimeter tire. So we designed the Sub50 to match kind of those standards, so that at the end of the day, riders felt comfortable that they knew that we were following kind of like the overall governing body if they were taking their first foray into hookless technology.
So Ken, my question is this. So over the years with the wheel sets from Hunt that I've enjoyed so immensely, my thing was, I think you touched on it briefly earlier, where I felt like I was getting basically 99% of a performance with maybe 50% of the cost compared to the big boys in the wheel market. A lot of the viewers that are watching this are not necessarily the guys that's gonna bang heads with the pros. So what's the Sub50? Who are they for? Normal everyday riders like me, what can we get out of them?
Totally. I mean, at the end of the day, we create products that are very purpose driven. So the consumer and the rider that we had in mind for this wheel set are the road racers. They are the people who are trying to be as competitive as possible. They're obviously road wheel set, so they're not for kind of the gravel enthusiast or the people who are looking for a do-it-all wheel set. But we really developed this wheel set, one, to prove that we can make a wheel set that could compete with the bigger manufacturers, but also for those people who are looking for kind of every little ounce of performance out of their equipment.
In other words, it's not for people like me. It's for those of you, the category 1 boys, and those of you that just want to just bang every Saturday group ride. You need to be the one that gets to the first stop sign. It's for those of you. One thing and one thing only, going fast.
So behind us is the steel spoke version of our Sub50 limitless aero disc. We also have a UD carbon spoke version of the Sub50. And then I guess there's a third option which includes ceramic speed bearings on the UD carbon spokes.
Going back a little bit earlier, I said, you know, I feel like I could spend half of what I spend on other wheels, but get basically the same performance. So when you are talking about the steel spoke, the Sub50, I think it was what earlier we were talking, you were saying $1,850 or so, and then carbon spoked ones were?
The carbon spoked jump up to about 22, and then with the ceramic speed bearings, it's another 400 or 500.
Gotcha. So basically, Ken, I'm going to put you in a tough spot here, because steel spoked Sub50 costing $1,850. Now we are at the range of maybe Shimano Dura Ace C50s. You've got Zip 404s, which is a hair under 2,000, maybe 1999. So we're along that range. What, as a consumer, what advantage are you providing with your Sub50s where I don't need to look at Zip 404s and Dura Ace C50s?
Yeah, no, that's a very valid question, and I want to preface it with the fact that
they're great wheels.
Every day, at the end of the day, yeah, everyone makes really good product, or else you wouldn't survive as a company anymore. So those are great options. What we try to do at Hunt, and kind of our goal behind everything, is to create the best products we can for individuals at the best price that we can sell it for without kind of not making any money as a company at the end of the day. Like, we want to be growing as a company to afford more wind tunnel time or afford more CFD time. So like, we charge riders close enough to what it costs to produce the rim with everything that comes with that cost. But so at the end of the day, instead of getting maybe a down-spec'd wheel set because other brands are trying to hit a certain price point that we're at, like, you're getting as good of a wheel set as we can make. And we, in our wind tunnel test, in our white paper, like, go head to head with the NV 4.5s, or 3.4s, or the Zip 454 NSWs, and a wide range of competitor wheel sets that are at the same price point or above. And we give kind of just a clear outline as to how we compare aerodynamically, which isn't always everything, but when we are making claims, we want to make sure we can back it up.
That makes my future decisions very tough, right? Now, at this point, I will toss it to Patrick, who's actually kind enough to join us online. So Patrick, you've been sitting here listening to all this. So I will ask you, what is the motivation and purpose behind the Sub50 that made you sit down, I need to have a new approach? So what drove you to design this new wheel set? And tell us a little bit about the new hubs, right?
Right. Thank you so much for having me on, DC. I'm Patrick. I'm the design engineer here at Hunt Bike Wheels, and have had a major part in the design of the Sub50 wheel set. The major driving principle for this product was to make the fastest all-round road racing wheel set that we possibly could. And so that was to really reduce the weight and increase the aerodynamic performance of the profile over the outgoing 48 limitless. And so that was really a big drive on a new aerodynamic rim shape, but also a new hub set. So we've moved to a ratchet hub system, and this is let us bring in a bit more reliability and also like help to get the weight of the total wheel set package right down. So the hubs for the Sub50 are our new H ratchet design. So it's a ratchet system, and so that lets us package the hub shell really tightly because you don't need the same diameter of free hub as you do for a pull system. And this all lets us have a really reliable while also lightweight performance package that enables us to say that it's gravel ready. And so it means that we can, with like absolute certainty, say to our athletes for sort of things like steamboat, these Sub50s will be super fast on gravel, but they'll also perform really well in road races. It's predominantly a road product. It's been aerodynamically optimized around a 28 and 30 mil tire. But that super wide front profile that if you've got a fast gravel race and you're going to want to fit a 35 mil tire, they're still going to be really quick on that as well. So it just like provides versatility to the end user, that these hubs are capable of that use case that we know most people aren't as lucky as us in the bike industry to have like a choice of sets of wheels. And so it just adds like that little bit of versatility. We know that these wheels will be capable of doing like whatever you want them to do really on a drop bar bike.
So the proof is in the pudding, right, Patrick? Is it safe to assume you guys are sponsoring a either male or female, some kind of a pro team, whether continental team, with your new Sub50?
So these wheels have now been raced at the very highest level of the sport. So primarily with Wahoo Life Plus, but also with the Coupe Repsol team. They've had a set on test and since after the Tour de France Femme last year. So it's a product that we've developed with our top level teams. And we saw them, the Sub50s they got a fourth at the Tour Down Under already. So slightly under the radar, getting some testing in, and we sort of have had good feedback, and pro athlete like input was a really key factor for us in the development of this product. And so it's really good to see them being proved out on the road. The limitless technology is something that is featured in these rims, which is where we have our own patented technology where we sandwich a low density polymer, which is about half the density of carbon fiber, into the hook of the rim. And this allows us to achieve the really wide profiles that we see on the Sub50s. It like helps with keeping the flow attached at sort of to higher yaws, and so you get a more aerodynamically efficient wheel set using much wider hook profiles. And so that's something we developed specifically for disc brake road wheels to really make advantage of all of the space that you can now take up now that you don't have a brake track, but without you like just adding like loads and loads of carbon, because you don't need a 3.5 mil hook like you see on mountain bike wheels for a road product, just because the impacts are of a different magnitude. And so it allows us to achieve a greater aerodynamic efficiency. It's like something that we think for the really top end wheels is really valuable, and it's what differentiates our limitless range from our aerodynamicist range, which are the most aerodynamic profiles that we can make with conventional construction. So their widths tend to sit more around the 30 mil range, whereas the limitless front wheel is up at 34.2. So you're adding 2.1 mil into each hook with that limitless foam to really make a super strong, but also really, really aerodynamic and lightweight profile. Yeah, so the really exciting thing for me about these wheels is that they are kind of that one wheel set to do it all. They're always with our previous range of wheels. I'm very lucky. I like hunt, we're all bike riders and we're allowed to borrow wheels and we swap, and there's lots of wheels floating around the office. And I would always think like, I probably should have put the deeper ones on for that circuit race. And then for a hilly like road race, I probably would have wanted like one of the slightly shallower sets to save myself a little bit of weight. And I wasn't, and like I'm lazy and I just leave the bike set up with whatever it's got on. And there was always like a couple of watts there I could have squeezed out, whereas I now know with the Sub50s that they are more aerodynamic than our 54 aerodynamicists. They are like crazy light at sort of 1380-ish grams for the carbon spoke version. And so you've got that sort of like, I've managed to get a set and no one's getting them off my bike basically, because I know that I can leave them on like all year and in a hilly road race, they're going to be super aero and then really fast for the finish. And then on a flat circuit race, I'm not giving up any watts to anyone there. And so just for me personally, like I'm incredibly proud of these. And I think that they're going to be, yeah, like I want them on my bike to race because I know that they're right up there with the fastest wheels in the market on any course.
I mean, for the most part, when we look at designing new products or bringing a new product to the range or seeing how we can update our current range, like all of that follows a handful of central design tenets. As a company, we want everything to be future-proof and adaptable. So while there is a movement within the cycling industry to come out with recyclable products and figure out how to be more eco-conscious, we are doing what we can at the meantime, being a smaller manufacturer, to make sure that the rim brake wheels that you bought in 2016, we still carry spares for. So in our warehouse in the UK and in the US, we have spares for every single wheel set that we built since our inception in 2015. So even if you're the first person who ever bought a rim brake 4-season wheel set from us, we have a spare so that we can take care of you and keep that product kind of rolling throughout its entire lifespan. Have the mindset that every dollar we spend is our riders' money. And so we don't have a big marketing team. It's me for the US, I have a counterpart in the UK, and I have a counterpart in Europe. And we do everything that we can to communicate to riders about our products. But you won't see us supporting the biggest of biggest teams in the World Tour because that takes money. Several more wind tunnel trips be more beneficial for the rider, or them seeing their wheels race at the World Tour?
Those of us that are dying to go get a set of a Sub50, where do we go get those?
So a handful of places. You can talk to your local bike shop. We work with a handful of bike shops across the US and the UK. Luft Los Angeles is one that you can order a wheel set through, or on our website at us.huntbikewheels.com.
Okay, everybody, so that is it for the new Sub50. If you buy them online on their website, tell them DC sent you. Guess what? I don't have a discount code for you, because that's a proof that I don't have a secret handshake with these people. I just got to know Ken because we're from the same region. So that's it. I thank you for your time. There's a lot of good content available on YouTube, and you decided to spend that time with a little old me, and I appreciate that very much. Hopefully you got something valuable out of this interview with Ken from Hunt. I've been Diabetic Cycling. He's been Ken. You've been awesome. Until next time, keep the rubber side down. Be safe out there. DC out.